Less than 3 years ago, George Santos was an up-and-coming Republican political star, flipping a House seat in New York City's suburbs. But he soon came under fire for lying about his life story. The now former congressman was back on Long Island for a very different announcement. He was sentenced to more than 7 years in prison for fraud and theft. Here is a timeline of his rise and fall. November 2020, Santos fraudulently claims unemployment benefits, collecting more than $24,000 while employed by a Florida investment firm. November 8, 2022, Santos defeats Democrat Robert Zimmerman in the first known congressional election featuring 2 openly gay candidates. December 19, 2022, a New York Times investigation exposes lies about Santos's work history and wealth, contradicting claims he worked for Goldman Sachs and Citigroup. December 26, 2022, Santos admits to fabricating some details of his biography, including that he had a degree from Baruch College and had worked for Citigroup and Goldman Sachs. Despite calling himself a proud American Jew in a position paper, he insists he never claimed to be Jewish, but rather Jewish. December 28, 2022, following the exposé, local prosecutors in Long Island open an investigation into Santos's campaign finances. January 2023, Santos is sworn into office. Questions surface about how he financed his campaign after filings offer contradictory accounts. January 31, 2023, Santos steps down from his congressional committees but says he won't resign. February 2023, revelations surfaced that Santos had been charged with stealing puppies in Pennsylvania in 2017 by using bad checks. The case was dismissed after Santos said the checks came from a checkbook that had been stolen from him. March 2, 2023, the House Ethics Committee announces an investigation into Santos. May 10, 2023, Santos is indicted on 13 federal counts, including wire fraud, money laundering, theft of public funds, collecting unemployment benefits he didn't deserve, and lied to Congress about his wealth, and lying on financial disclosure forms.
3.5 years later, after perseverance, here we are. We shattered the glass ceiling and we showed the radical left that there are gay conservatives who actually stand for freedom.
October 10, 2023, prosecutors unseal a superseding indictment, adding 10 charges, including aggravated identity theft and credit card fraud. A new indictment accuses Santos of stealing donors' IDs and making unauthorized charges to their credit cards. Santos pleads not guilty to the revised charges later that month. He is accused of repeatedly charging his donors' credit cards without their consent. November 16, 2023, the House Ethics Committee says in a scathing report on Santos that it amassed overwhelming evidence of lawbreaking, concluding flatly that he cannot be trusted. December 1, 2023, Santos is expelled by the House on a vote of 311 to 114, easily clearing the 2/3 majority required. February 2024, Santos sues late-night host Jimmy Kimmel, alleging Kimmel deceived him into making cameo videos that were used to ridicule Santos on the show. April 23, 2024, Santos drops his long-shot, independent bid to return to Congress a month after announcing his candidacy. His campaign committee reported raising no money in March 2024. August 19, 2024, weeks before the case was to go to trial, Santos pleaded guilty to wire fraud and aggravated identity theft, blaming his ambition for clouding his judgment and saying he was flooded with deep regret. He confesses to stealing from donors and using campaign funds for personal expenses, including designer clothes. The same day, a judge dismissed Santos' suit against Kimmel, saying the host's use of the cameo videos for criticism and commentary was fair. April 25, 2025, former U.S. Representative George Santos, who was expelled from Congress after a brief and scandal-plagued tenure, should be sentenced to more than 7 years in prison for fraud and identity theft, federal prosecutors in Brooklyn said Friday. Santos pleaded guilty in August to 2 of the 23 criminal counts he faced for inflating fundraising numbers and faking donor names to qualify for financial support from the Republican Party during the 2022 election cycle, when the political newcomer was elected to represent a slice of New York City and its eastern suburbs. July 25, 2025, Santos reports to the Federal Correctional Institution in Phairton, in southern New Jersey. October 17, 2025, President Donald Trump commutes Santos' sentence. Trump still has the most counts, 91. Across 4 cases, Trump is currently charged with 88 counts. Trump argued Santos' lies weren't worse than other politicians' misstatements. He even pointed at Senator Richard Blumenthal's Vietnam remarks. Bottom line, this was framed as mercy for excessive sentence call, not an exoneration. A commutation ends or reduces the punishment. A pardon wipes the conviction. Santos walked out, but the convictions still stand. Subscribe.
Lead just out in the New York Times in late 2021 as he prepared to make a second run for a suburban New York City House seat. George Santos gave permission for his campaign to commission a routine background study on him. The Times report, citing 3 people with knowledge of the study, goes on to say, quote, some of Mr. Santos's own vendors were so alarmed after seeing the study in late November 2021 that they urged him to drop out of the race and warned that he could risk public humiliation by continuing. And so, here we are. This comes as we have an exclusive of our own about the congressman's time at a company accused of running a Ponzi scheme and what he told a suspicious customer at the time. Okay, so Andrew, walk us through what you found.
Yeah, so Santos worked at this investment firm in 2020 and 2021. It was called Harbor City Capital. He served as the regional director for the New York office. And the SEC basically shut this place down in 2021, right around the time that Santos left. They called it a classic Ponzi scheme in their complaint against the company. Now, what Santos has said last year, the Daily Beast reported on the Ponzi scheme.